What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the tavern. I'm Spencer.
And as always, I'm Eli.
And we're back from Comic-Con. It's been a few days without a stream, but we have finally
still
returned.
in pain.
Yeah, we did a lot of
However, I
walking
am
around.
feeling better. I did spend most of yesterday not feeling the best, so.
I actually felt great yesterday. I was walking around work and a couple of the people I told I was going to the con, they're like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "I feel great. I feel fantastic. I had 3 days off of this place. You know, I got a break. I did a whole lot of walking, but it was a whole lot of walking not here. So I was like, I feel good. I feel happy. But we'll get to more of that in a bit.
I should actually probably open up the stream.
We'll talk about our experience at the con. It was a fun con. But first up, there was a Nintendo Direct this morning, which I didn't find out until like yesterday. I was like, oh wow, that's at 10 in the morning. Cool. I caught the very end of it. Unfortunate news for any Silksong hopefuls. There's still not an announcement. I don't know why you people keep getting your hopes up, but Hollow Knight Silksong is not going to be announced. Ever. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I've just resigned myself. It's not happening. They'll pick a time to announce it, but every single time there's a PlayStation event, there's a Nintendo event, there's an Xbox event, all the Hollow Knight fans are like, "Oh, Silksong! It's time for Silksong!" And it's never Silksong. So I hope we get it someday, but you know, I think it's going to have its own thing. I don't think it's going to be a part of an event like this. But so some of the big things to the Nintendo Direct, there's just a bunch of games coming to the Switch.
Yeah, that's
already existing
what
games.
I'm seeing. Coffee Talks is getting Coffee Talks Tokyo, which would be interesting.
That is very interesting. The thing that I saw that was interesting was the Yakuza.
Yep.
Yakuza Kiwami. Kiwami, which is pretty cool.
Oh, Civ 7 is going on the Switch?
Yeah, Civ 7 is going to run like at 2 frames per second on the Switch. I guarantee that. Oh
wow, Xbox exclusives are going to the Switch? What's going on here?
Yeah. Rune Factory was an interesting thing. Apparently it's an established thing. Doesn't come out until 2025, but Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. It seemed like a mix between like Stardew Valley and an RPG. So you're building up your own town, but then you can go out and like actually fight things.
Interesting.
Like in a I think it looked like turn-based combat. So I'd say Final Fantasy kind of style, yeah.
Worms is going to.
What is Sims 7? No, not Sims. Civ. Civilization 7. It's a real-time strategy game. Also, what's up, Ian? I can't show the costume, but I'll tell you what I dressed up as. I was Tengen from Demon Slayer. That's what I dressed up as. Tengen Uzui. But, yeah, Castlevania collection. A lot of DS games coming to the Switch. Capcom Fighting Collection, which includes Marvel vs. Capcom, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, Power Wash Simulator.
Show a pic of the character? Just look up the character. My Sims. Oh, yeah, I did see that. I can't believe they're bringing back My Sims.
Oh yeah.
That's just like the Animal Crossing version of The Sims.
I mean, it's an interesting. I don't see anything like super worth of note on here.
No, yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of things that it's just like, all of these are coming to the Switch. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Hold on. Power Wash Simulator Shrek Special Pack? What are you doing in my swamp? That is officially the worst impression of Shrek you've ever heard.
Donkey!
Donkey!
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much. It's cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay.
It's somewhat basic. Patrick is getting his own game from SpongeBob.
Cool. Don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like another Battle for Bikini Bottom, it could be fun, but... Tetris celebrates 40 years in new collection.
Nice.
40 years of Tetris.
Best game ever made.
Yeah, so not a ton of...
It's cool to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of... Oh, dude, Pico Park 2? Wow. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. That's nice to see that Nintendo's keeping up with the times.
Except they need a new Nintendo Switch to actually run half of the games they're trying to put on it. Dude, it's hilarious. When I saw
it's coming out soon.
When I saw it, well, they announced that they were doing the Direct on Twitter, and then right under that, they left a comment that said there will be no information about a new Nintendo Switch in this Direct, and everybody was like, come on! I was like, come on, guys, you gotta do something. That console is probably has less power in it than a Nokia phone from the 90s. Like, it needs some upgraded internal hardware to compete.
Haven't they talked about doing a new one?
There's been...
Or, like, a new model?
There's been some talks about it. I think they're looking at, like, Switch 2. Like, you know how they did the Wii U? I think they're looking at doing something more like that. That's just like, it's a different console than the Switch, but it's essentially just an upgraded Switch. Which they need to do. Because, frankly, the fact that the definitive way to play Nintendo games is to take your Switch, dump the files onto your PC, and then play all the games in your PC because you can actually run them properly, that's asinine.
Yeah.
It should be running on their console.
There are only 12 million units sold away from breaking PlayStation 2, so I think that might be the record they're going for.
Possibly. Are they really that close?
Yeah, they're at 43.42 million. PlayStation 2 is at 155 million.
I'm assuming you're saying they're at 143 million, not 43 million.
Yes, it probably got cut off.
I think it did get cut off, because all I heard was 43 million. I was like, that's a little bit bigger than just a few million. That's like over 100 million.
Yeah. I mean, the DS came within a million copies of beating.
The DS came really close. I I still think even if Switch surpasses PS2, and this is not Nintendo fanboys, don't be like, no, you just don't like Nintendo. I still think the fact that the PlayStation 2 managed to sell 155 million copies 20 years ago as a non-mobile console will be more impressive, even if
Oh,
the
yeah.
Switch surpasses it. Because
I-
there's a lot more people in the world today. The internet's a whole different, like, it's a completely different landscape than when the PS2 managed to do it.
I know we had this conversation on a podcast before, but it's like, oh, the Switch has become such a household object that we don't even count it as a console anymore. Like, oh yeah, I have the PlayStation, but I also have a Switch. But I
Right.
don't think about the Switch because it's not really a console.
I mean, yeah, it's not much stronger than a DS, so
I got mine right here. My Switch.
I still haven't got one. But
Mine's deader than a doornail, but it's on my desk. I don't use it for anything.
like it doesn't function anymore, or
No, it's just I don't have the the charger plugged in, and it sits in the bay, so it just sits there.
oh, okay.
What video games am I gonna play on the Switch that I can't play on the PC, other than Pokemon? But even then, I could probably find a way to play Pokemon.
Actually, if you dump all your Switch files, you absolutely can. But we didn't say that, Nintendo. You can't get onto us because we're not doing it. Hey, people, absolutely don't look up a YouTube tutorial on how to dump your Switch files so you can play your games on a objectively superior platform. I didn't say that. But yeah, simple Nintendo Direct this morning. So, Core Borderlands 1 is in 3 hours. do you, do you, I shouldn't have to keep telling you how to tell time. Look up on Google when is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in my time, and you'll know.
Isn't Gore in England?
Yes.
Add 6 hours.
Well, there you go. But,
I think. I actually don't know.
see, I have no idea either. Is there a way for you to be on call without your voice being on stream? No. There isn't.
But yeah, cool. Nintendo's doing their shit again. I mean, it's about time that they all did theirs to be like, hey, yeah, this is coming out with the games that are gonna be for next year's the next big release, which will be before summertime next year. Because all the games that they previewed this past time are gonna be coming out now for the holiday season.
Right. But, yeah, so now on to Comic-Con. We had a fun-filled weekend. No, this will not be a 3-hour Bardic Blunders. But yeah, we had a lot of fun this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of sweet artists, which is one of the coolest things about going to Comic-Con is seeing all the different artists. And there was some really unique artists this year. Like the one guy who just did the character portraits, but it was all in that like charcoal paint.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Yeah, like
I didn't stop at his booth, but I definitely walked by it like 6 or 7 times.
I was like, those are some really freaking awesome art. There were some people who thought their art was worth its weight in gold, and it was a little
yeah.
I'm like, like you drew a picture and you're charging like $120 for a picture that everybody else is charging $25 for. So, or you got the one booth that I got 3 prints for 25 and a big Cowboy Bebop print for 45. Like,
Yeah.
that was a freaking great deal, as far as I'm concerned. It's sitting above my window now. It's beautiful. That,
So
I think I
tell
can
you
show on
why
stream.
they could. I can tell you why they were charging so little, because they cheated the system.
Oh?
So normally, what a lot of these artists do is they print out everything and then bring it with them. They brought the printer, the computer, and the paper.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha.
So instead of being like, oh, I have to print 100 of these to make sure I don't sell out of them, they're like, I don't need to worry about bringing any extra of anything. If I only need to sell 5,000 copies, probably a lot less than that for what they were charging, because they also had the t-shirt booth next to them,
Right.
which they were pressing right there if you didn't notice.
I didn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah, they were making t-shirts at the con. I was like, okay, these guys figured it out.
That is really smart, because that lowers the cost of it a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Makes transporting and organizing a whole lot easier as well.
right.
And you're not losing money if a certain art sells nothing. You don't sell any of a certain art. Because you're making them to order, basically.
Right.
You're not, like, pre-doing anything. It was an ingenious idea. I was like, okay, I see now.
And they had some solid artwork too, because I don't want to be a critic, but when I'm hanging something up on my wall, there's a thing I know, I told you about it with one particular artist who I thought had pretty decent art, but there was something about the faces
Oh, yeah.
that
The
just
faces don't look right.
threw me off. Yeah. And like I don't want to be mean, but it's like when I notice that at the con, if I buy that and put it on my wall, I'm going to notice it every day. It's going to drive me insane. So it was just like work on that a little bit. Great ideas for art, because what the guy did, he had all the Critical Role characters from the first season with different evolutions, and he had a couple other art pieces with different, non-Critical Role. And I don't remember which one I was looking at buying, but there was a lot of really creative art there. That
Yeah.
I mean,
There's also
that's
a
the
lot
way.
of stuff. There's a lot of stuff there, like craft stuff that I was not expecting there to be a
Yes,
lot of.
which
I was like,
those coasters I got. I've seen coasters at cons before, but like I got a set of 4 slate coasters that were laser etched with different logos. I got ones that were the Demon Slayer, like what they have on the back of their shirt.
let's destroy.
Yeah, destroy. The destroy kanji. I guess you can just say that. The Black Bulls logo from Black Clover. The Hunter's mark from Bloodborne, and the bonfire from Dark Souls. $25 for the set of 4. There was another booth selling them for like $20 a piece.
Yep.
So, mad respect to those people as well, because there's a tendency at cons to way overcharge for things.
Yeah.
Check my logic on this. Would it not make more sense to charge less at a con than you would like at your online store or something like that? Because you have the person there right now.
I would say charge the exact same. Only because you'd have to remember they have to pay for the booth spot, and they're
I guess that's fair.
So like the smaller ones that we saw, like on Artist Alley, that where it's like only like a 4-foot table. I think those are going right now because I was looking up the prices of them for like $750 plus, depending on where you are.
Yeesh.
Like the ones that no one goes to because they're like tucked into the weirdest places are like $750. If you want a mainstay one, it's over 1,000.
Yikes, dude. I mean, I knew it was expensive, but... And I'm sure that's part of why some of them overcharge, but it gets to the point, like, those...
And Alex is right that they do have to pay to transport everything there.
Yes.
That's the only reason why I would charge the same price, because you're basically taking out the shipping and handling thing.
Right. But, like, those swords, those foam swords that I got for my cosplay for Tengen, cost me, what, $30 on Amazon? There was someone at the con selling them for, like, $50. Like, well, okay, dude.
And the other thing is, people will buy it.
Yeah,
at the con.
They will, and that's why they upcharge. But, I mean, that's what irritates me about going to cons most of the time, is it's like, oh, this thing's cool. And I guess there is the convenience factor of, oh, I get it now, and not a week after I order it, or, sometimes longer. But at the same time, it's just like, why would I pay so much extra just for the right to have it now?
Because people are impatient. And
I know
Alex
other
also
people
has
are.
another point that you have to take off work
Yes.
to go. That's also why a lot of artists didn't show up till Saturday.
Right, yeah, there was a lot of empty spots on Friday.
And then they were all there Saturday, and then Sunday a bunch of people were gone, which I was assuming was because they had to go catch flights.
Yes, probably. But yeah, there were a couple of booths in particular that I could point to that I was like, ooh, you're asking way too much. Like there was one booth that they had a giant D20 that was a resin D20 filled with smaller D20s. And both of us made comments like, oh, that's really cool. She wanted $500 for it. I'm talking one like the size of my fist. And we went to another booth and they were charging like $200 for it. Which I was like, still, that's a decent amount of money. But compared to the other one who's selling it for $500, that's a deal. Like, why are they selling it for so much? And that's more who I'm directing that at. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you the smaller ones were not made by them, Alex. It was like they went to one of those scoop up a picture of D20s and then they dumped it into a mold.
I don't know,
What metrics or goals will your performance be evaluated against? Hours.
Yeah. I had fun at the con. My problem was there wasn't a lot of cosplay. It was like a lot less cosplay than I normally see at cons.
There was I'll tell you what, there was a lot of how do I say this without sounding mean? Lazy cosplays where it was
I think it's because becoming a nerd has become more popular that it's starting to become.
Because there was a lot of people. The Shaggy Sabersmith was there, who, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy online who looks like Shaggy and acts like a Jedi, or does, Roronoa Zoro from One Piece, but if Shaggy was Zoro, stuff like that. He was there. So there was a lot of guys who just went, oh, let me get a brown shirt, or a brown pants and a green shirt and be Shaggy. There was guys running around the con just with banana on. There was a group of guys who just painted their faces green, and that was it. I was like, I don't even know what you're supposed to be. There was a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of, like, hey, I really put time and effort into this cosplay.
There was only one Space Marine this year, which I understand why that's annoying, especially in the Tampa Convention Center. But, well, they know where we went to the convention. We told them, so I'm not worried about that. But the Tampa Convention Center is itty bitty.
Yeah, which we were having conversations about that as we were there, because we're like, there doesn't seem like there's a lot to do, because when we used to go to MegaCon had a lot to do because it was in such a big convention center over in Orlando. And then you look at Dragon Con up in Atlanta, and Dragon Con takes place across, like, a convention center and multiple hotels. So it's like, there's...
Actually, hold on.
All kinds of ground to cover.
Okay. I still have the Dragon Con app. So let me go see if because Dragon Con's this upcoming weekend. Let me go see if I can find a map or did I delete it? I don't know. I might send it in the group chat that I'm in, but I'll look it up real quick. Dragon Con 2024 map. Okay. Copy image. I'm sending it over to you in Discord.
All right.
Message. Control V.
Yeah, we'll save image.
I am not going with them to Dragon Con. They asked me if I was going, and I said no because I had to work. And I took this weekend off to hang out with my buddy, Panther. If you want to put that image on screen.
I'm trying to, but File Explorer is... Yes, end process.
Having a shit fit?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how I clicked it, it's like... Opening a folder? That's a lot to ask of me, dude. Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, I've never had the File Explorer app not work. So this is Dragon Con. This is the map of Dragon Con. This is so much bigger than Tampa Con.
Those lines, by the way, that crisscross.
These are roads.
Yeah.
Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to the left side of your screen, America's Mart thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Young International, that side, that's the top floor is Artist Alley, the rest is your vendor halls. Yeah, but no joke. They do stuff in all of these hotels too.
Right, yeah, you can see, like, down here, it's got a bunch of... I mean, I guess this is all just, food places, but...
They do have a lot of... They tell you where all the food is, but...
They've got stuff all the way over here.
Yeah. And this is downtown Atlanta. They close off all these roads so you can just walk around.
Yeah.
They do parties on the rooftops of most of the, hotels. Or in certain areas. It's cool.
I'd be down to go to it one year. Obviously not this year because it's literally this weekend, and
Yeah, tickets are like $500.
we just went to a convention. Yeah, I need my wallet to recover.
But no, if you get the tickets early enough, they're only like $170 for all 5 days.
Which isn't terrible.
That's on average kind of what we paid for this con, and you get all the there is no like early access like they had at our con. The doors open when they open.
Right. Well, and we paid that much. We paid less than that for, well, about that much for the two of us.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, that's more expensive just for one person, but it's also 5 days, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and they have a parade that goes up the road. What was that, Ian? That was Dragon Con.
That was the map for Dragon Con. It's a massive convention in Atlanta. But yeah, our main criticism of it was that it was a little bit small, but that's just because it's the Tampa Convention Center, and the Tampa Convention Center isn't that big.
Yeah.
I've been to conventions there before, and I mean, granted, the first one I went to was in 2014, so that was when comic conventions were not as big, and especially the Tampa one was not big. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con, and New York Comic-Con were already bigger conventions, but the Tampa one especially was tiny, teeny tiny. But yeah, now it seems to have outgrown the convention center.
Yeah.
I will say though, for me, it was enjoyable just to be there.
Yeah.
Like seeing all the different cosplays and especially on the day that I dressed up, having people come up and ask for a picture, it makes you feel good about the cosplay, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I look terrible. I bet I don't look good at all. Like, you know, I cut up this crappy headband and everything, and that's but then when I get to the con and everybody's like, hey man, you killed it. Oh dude, you're an awesome Tengen. Can I get your picture? I'm like, oh, well, that makes me feel good. I'm happy now. But I have to say, I don't know if I told you about it, but my favorite moment from the con was when you were off grabbing food and I was, you know, waiting for you. I was just crouched over by a wall somewhere and walked by two little girls dressed as Nezuko. I think one was Nezuko and one was one of the Hashira. And they waved at me. And I waved back, and they looked so thrilled when I waved back at them. They were like, oh, and I was like, oh, I probably just made their day, and that's the most adorable thing in the world. I'm happy that I could do that for them, because they looked so, they're like, Tengen waved at us. That was my favorite interaction I had with anybody at the con. And it wasn't, they didn't talk to me, they didn't do anything, but it was just the wave, and then I waved back, and they were so happy. Like, oh, I'm happy now. I also didn't tell you about it, which now that you've watched Demon Slayer, you might find it funnier. There was, whenever we had gotten separated, there was a chick cosplaying Nezuko who came up to me and didn't pull the little bamboo piece out of her mouth. She just made like a flashing a camera, you know, like clicking the button on the camera motion to say she wanted a picture with me. Never said a word, just walked up and did like the like she's holding the camera, click click, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then when after we took the picture, she was like, she did a little like hands together, like thank you, and then waved. I'm like she's committed to the bit. Also had one guy go, Tengen, where are your wives? I'm like, they're walking around the convention somewhere. He's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah, we'll go with that.
Man. And transitioning,
So,
I finally watched Demon Slayer.
To roll out of that right into this, Demon Slayer. So I mean, obviously, I like Demon Slayer because I dressed up as that to the con. Went to a panel for some of the Demon Slayer voice actors, which was pretty entertaining. Also went to a voice acting panel, but I'll talk about that later. But, yeah, so Eli finally watched Demon Slayer after watching me walk around the con and take pictures with a bunch of different Demon Slayer cosplayers. And, what do you think? What do you think about it? What's your honest review?
My honest review. Man. I might piss people off. I don't want to do. I don't give a shit.
Go for it.
It's very okay.
All right.
It definitely hit the middle ground. I'm like, okay, watching it. I disagree with everyone saying the main character's a bitch.
See, thank you.
Mainly because there are other characters that I'm like, why are you being so whiny over fighting demons? Like, come on, dude.
I've tried to tell people who have given that criticism that, oh, Tanjiro's just a wimp, he whines all the time. I'm like, no. Tanjiro cries when he sees the light. Like, for example, we'll pull out a moment from season 2. It's a couple years old, so if you haven't watched Demon Slayer yet, don't listen. If you have, and you haven't gotten to season 2, what is wrong with you? After they kill Daki and Gyutaro, there's a moment with the two demons, who are brother and sister, that Tanjiro is like, this could have been me and Nezuko, had things gone differently. And he does weep for the two. And it's like, that is where Tanjiro sheds tears. In moments like that, where he's like, basically being thankful that he didn't get turned into a demon too, so he has a chance to help his sister. That he's sad for these two who did get turned into demons, and as a result, didn't get to live lives as people. You know, that's what he weeps for, which is so different than how people try and paint it. You want a main character who's a crybaby? Look at Deku from freaking My Hero. He whines all the time. Deku's annoying. Anyways, continue.
It was very middle ground for me. I mean, the story, it's nothing like, most of the story beats I was like, oh, this is what's going to happen next. And it happened. And I'm like, okay.
It's not an overly complex story.
Yeah, that's
isn't.
my problem, is like, I want something to make me think. I did like, at the end of season 4,
the most recent one. Now, this is recent, so if you haven't caught up...
Oh, hey, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay, alright.
The master of the Demon Slayers, his plan, I did not see that one coming.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, you got me.
That's why I think there's a moment that will change your opinion on a certain character in the next season or movie or whatever they do. I honestly, because there's something I bet that you don't see coming.
Wind Dude, I hated. I hated the Wind Harashi dude.
Shinozagawa?
Yeah, I just could not stand him.
He is an asshole. He gets better, but yes, definitely. What did you think of his younger brother, though? Just pulls out a gun.
I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, They do have guns.
Yeah, it just blows half a demon's face off.
I did get a good laugh out of that one.
Oh boy.
Inosuke was probably my favorite just because of how funny he was.
I love the line after at the beginning of season 3 after they're recovering from the fight with Daki and Gyutaro, where they're explaining how the poison didn't affect Inosuke as much because of his upbringing with boars, and he's like, so basically I'm immortal, and they're like, no, you're just stupid.
You can call me Lord Inosuke now.
Yeah, Inosuke's great. What was your favorite fight so far?
Ooh. The train fight.
The train fight? The train fight is really good. Be honest with me. How did Rengoku hit you?
Which one's Rengoku?
Flame Hashira.
Oh, I got really annoyed. I was going to send you a message about this the other day. I got really annoyed because every anime I tend to watch, if they have somebody who does fire stuff, that's the guy who always dies.
Really?
Every single time. Or gets beat up and put out of the fight really early on. I'm like, why would you do this?
Oh boy.
I got so annoyed by it because I was like, oh, cool. You couldn't have put somebody else in there that we didn't know that well to come out and say something profound. But no, he has to be the fire guy. It's like, I did like how he fought, though. That was really cool.
Yes. Well, I loved Rengoku, and I will admit I cried when he died. He was my favorite character after the first season, and then Tengen stole the show for me in season 2.
My thing is I noticed something that I don't think they've brought up again. I might have missed it. But they talk a lot about... Tengen talks about how he's like, the Hirashi must be using different styles in the way they learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they got so powerful. But you don't see anybody else do anything of the sort.
Right.
And I'm like, is he just weird? Is he... Because he uses lightning breathing in season 3. He uses water breathing the entire time, pretty much. He uses fire breathing. He uses sun breathing.
Are you talking about Tanjiro?
Yeah, Tanjiro.
Yeah, Tanjiro learns a lot of different breathing techniques.
I also absolutely loved Inosuke's, I don't follow any of these.
Yeah, what's his again? It's
He calls it 3 different things. He calls it primal breathing,
beast breathing,
in beast breathing, and in season 1 he calls it self-taught breathing.
Okay.
And I just thought it was so funny. He can't decide on anything.
He can't figure out a name for it. I also love him moving his vital organs out of the way.
That was great. I also love the fact that I was like, when they did the entrance exam thing, and there were only 4 of them there, I was like, Inosuke's the 5th one, and he just got lost.
And that's exactly what happened.
And then when you first meet him, he's like a maniac just ripping through the building. And I'm like, that's perfect.
I love his thing where he flexes backwards and put his head under his legs, next to his feet.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about the other night.
Hands.
Yeah, I think my favorite fight is still season 2. I really liked the demons in season 3. The pot one and the drum one.
Yeah.
Especially the sound they used for when the drum one would hit one of the drums behind him. Something about that sound, every time he did it, I was like, I really like that sound. That's such a satisfying sound.
Though I will say this, I absolutely loved I don't remember her name. She was the
Mitsuri?
one with the whip blade,
Mitsuri.
the whip sword. Yeah. She's great. I
Yes.
loved her.
She's so sweet.
I want to see more of her. Also, when they're training in season 4, and Tanjiro shows up, and she's like, "Oh, let me make you breakfast." Hee hee. And then she sends a letter to Snake Dude, and the Snake Dude's like, "I'ma murder him."
Yep. Oh boy.
Also, once again, I feel this is another annoying part to me, is like the main character not picking up on any of the romantic advances of other characters.
Oh yeah, he's in Demon Slayer's context. I kind of give it a pass because you can see multiple reasons why he wouldn't be necessarily focused on something like that. Because it's like, there's the threat of demons. He needs to stop Muzan, but he also wants to turn his sister back from a demon. So it's like, he's got a lot on his plate right now, and so he's not really...
And he's still pretty young.
And he's still young, right. So, I kind of give it a pass because it's less the stupid protagonist doesn't realize he has 17 different girls fawning over him, and more so, like, he's got a couple of girls who definitely have a thing for him. And, I mean, Mitsuri is very outward with it, but she's outward with everybody.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, it's like, it's not a prime focus for him at the moment. And I'm like, oh, so I can kind of give it a pass in that right.
Because you have her, you have, the medic girl from the butterfly people.
Yeah.
You have
I don't remember
the
her
butterfly. I just finished the show and I don't remember. You have other butterfly chick, which is the trainee of the one I don't like.
Shinobu.
Yeah.
And her younger sister is... It starts with a K.
Yeah, well, yeah, the younger one that did the trial with Tenjin.
Tanjiro.
Kajiro. I don't give a shit, man. These names all mixed together.
Good grief, man.
I was watching anime earlier, so give me a pass.
Jeez.
Oh, I will also give you an anime name of a show that I started watching that I just got so fed up with because it went nowhere.
Oh.
It's To Your Eternity. I watched 19 episodes, and the show has gone nowhere.
I like how in your wide net of anime watching, you've managed to find some of the worst animes.
Oh, really?
I mean, you've definitely found some stinkers, but
The funniest part is, like, the only reason why I kept watching it was there was a scene that I saw that I was like, that seems interesting. And I wanted to get to that scene, and I just couldn't get through it, man. Because, like, the show went nowhere. You spent 3 episodes in a blizzard. And they were the first 3 episodes.
jeez. One last thing on Demon Slayer. Of the Hashira, which one has been your favorite? Because I mostly remember the training arc, but I don't remember specific notes from the Hashira. I know it's the first time you get a look at Shinazagawa, Obani, Iguro, I think is his first name.
The big guy's pretty cool.
Gyome?
Yeah.
Gyome is really cool.
Especially that he does it all blind.
Yep.
I was like, okay. That's cool. But at the same time, I was like...
Him and Tengen are two of my favorite Hashira, solely because of the fact that they're the only two that don't just use katanas.
Yeah.
All the other... I mean, Mitsuri's unique with her whip sword, which was really cool, I'll admit. But it is still just a katana that's just been extended longer. Most of the, I think every other Hashira, I mean, Iguro's technically isn't a katana because it curves like a snake, so it's a katana-style sword, but it's, it's, what's it called?
Really could have done so many more weapons with that.
Flamberg? Is that the name of the great sword that curves like a snake? Okay. But yeah, did it show Guillaume's weapon? I don't think it has yet.
Guillaume, the big dude?
The big dude, yeah, with the prayer beads.
He has an axe. His axe is attached to a ball that he can make into a giant. He can basically turn it into a morning star.
Yes. Yeah, you'll get to see him fight with that next season, and oh man, it's so cool. It's so cool. I love his weapon a lot. But yeah.
They also spoiled something that I will say this because I as soon as they said it, I'm like, oh, that's funny that no one realized that. They're fighting Big Bad Guy at the end of Season 4. But he says something that I went, oh, that's gonna bite them all in the ass. If he dies, all the demons die.
Yes.
Including Nezuko.
I ain't saying nothing. What's up, Razor Bolt? Comic-Con was a lot of fun. We talked about it a bit earlier.
Can you shoot me a DM saying if I'm right?
Maybe. Yeah, so for everybody's information, I haven't seen Season 4 of Demon Slayer, but I've read the manga, so I know everything that happens. So it's like, I don't know how they played it out in Season 4 yet, because since I haven't watched it, but I know what happens in the season, and what happens later. Which is why I've been, dropping, I know. I know. Which that's what the voice actress for Shinobu was like. She was like, the second I got cast, everybody immediately spoiled the entire show for me. And so she's like, I already know everything that happens. And I'm like, dang, that kind of sucks, but Oh, you've read the manga too, Razor Bolt? It's gonna be good. Whether it's this will probably be the last season. I don't think they'll try and extend this into anything else.
They might do an afterwards movie like they did with Assassination Classroom, but
possibly. But they also might adapt because there's a side story manga that they released that is about Rengoku and Gyu.
Okay.
Rengoku. What was it called? Oh, Stories of Water and Flame. That I think would be really cool
To see
to
animated?
adapt. Yeah, to adapt into anime, because it would give you more time with both Rengoku and Gyu, who are really cool characters who, as cool as their arcs are in the show, don't get a lot of time in the show. The last arc
Yeah.
will be released in 3 movies. Oh. Well, that's interesting. I kind of figured they were going to do a movie, because that's what they've done with every season, where they have the season and then a movie, but I didn't know they would do 3 movies.
Kind of makes sense. That breaks it up in 12 episodes if they do it right.
Yeah, I guess
9 to 12 episodes.
I guess if they plan on releasing a season with it, that'll be interesting to see.
The Spy X Family movie comes out on Crunchyroll in November, so
Nice. Okay, I so did which Hashira was your favorite?
I had the love one.
Mitsuri.
She was just so. Yeah, she was just too pure for me.
She is really sweet. I do like Mitsuri. Now I lied.
also love. There's a scene where they asked Tanjiro to explain how he got his mark,
Uh-huh.
and he explains it, and then it cuts to her. They're like, "Can you explain it better?" Because he made no fucking sense. And she explained it the exact same way he did, and they're like, like word for word, the exact same way, and I was just like,
That's awesome. Yeah, Tengen's my favorite. Tengen as a whole, because of his whole, like, I need to stand up to Rengoku. Like, I need to live up to what he portrayed. And then, in the middle of the fight with the voice acting was incredible for him. I gotta say. In the middle of that fight was phenomenal. But, the I can finally read it! This filthy melody of yours! I'm like, oh, this is so cool! So, I think Tengen's gonna stay my favorite.
I liked him, but I think I liked him more when he was interacting with the 3 main characters.
Yes. That he did have some good interactions with them.
Because it definitely showed a very different side of, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a bunch of idiots.
He was the exact opposite of Rengoku. Where Rengoku was like, yeah, firing him up, and he's just like, y'all are stupid.
I have not met a dumber lot to ever pass.
But then you can see him gaining respect for them as the battle goes on, where it's like Tanjiro jumps down through the roof, and Tengen's like, "What a flashy entrance! I taught you well." Like,
yeah. Well, I guess I have to thank you for saving my wives.
Right. Tanjiro Kamado, you have my utmost thanks.
And his training with in season 4 was actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because Tanjiro shows up and wipes the floor with everyone, and he's like, "Oh, you are stronger than the rest of them."
What characters are we playing? I'm playing Lilith. Eli's playing Brick. Gore is playing Mordecai, and Alex is playing Roland. But yeah,
Tree calculator.
I did lie. There's one more question. Which one is your favorite demon?
Oh, Big Bad Demon. He
Muzan?
was, yeah.
Muzan is really cool. My favorite is Upper Moon 1. And you'll see why. I keep hinting to the next season because I'm so excited for it. But, I mean, season, 3 movies, but, oh, Kokushibo is so cool. But yeah, we can get off of Demon Slayer now. But yeah, Razor, the con was a lot of fun. I dressed as Tengen, just in case you weren't here for me to say that. I cosplayed Tengen. I didn't want to say it before the con, but that's who I did. I'll see if I can find a picture that I can edit my face out of that I'm not also putting somebody else's face out there. You know, but I have one picture that might work, but we'll see. But yeah, so the last thing we had was the secret level.
Yeah, secret level, something I'm really interested in. Is going to be a show based on a bunch of different IPs, one episode each, done by the people who did Love, Death, and Robots. And it's basically just going to be I think it's just gonna be really cool, honestly. Let me pull up the list. Secret level. Games adapted. Sneak peek. Let's see. There's going to be 15. They're all short stories, so there's that. Okay, this is the wrong thing. Can you just give me... So, currently confirmed. Armored Core, Concore, Crossfire, Dungeons & Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World Atrium, Pac-Man, PlayStation, which I'm going to guess they're going to do a bunch of other stuff, Sifu, and Spelunky. Outer Worlds 2, Unreal Tournament, Warhammer 40k. So,
Okay.
There's a bunch that they're doing. And they're working with Blur Studios.
Blur Studios. Interesting.
So I'm really interested to see it. It comes out December 11th, I believe. But yeah, Outer Worlds 2. I believe it's going to be the setup for the game, which I believe comes out next year. And I got to take a poop, so I've been holding it.
Fantastic. All right, you got your quote then?
Give me a second. Instagram, here we go. Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
When I look in the mirror, I see a person who's nothing but a tragedy, a lore of survival, a graveyard of memories. Augustia.
Nice. That's not the one I thought you were going to do today.
Oh, really?
There was another one that you said
Oh.
that you were going to do, but...
Inosuke, wait!
No. That wasn't the one I was thinking of. Well, in honor of talking about Demon Slayer, I'll pull out a quote from Demon Slayer. It's okay to do things a little differently. Kyojuro Rengoku.
Well, we're on 5 episodes away from 1 year.
Yeah, we are. Goodness.
Well, I'm gonna go take a poop, so tally ho, everyone.
Tally ho!